Wicked Good Season 4, Episode 07. Myself, Tommy Chong CBD, and Blue Chew are the advertisers for today's episode. If you want to check them out now, along with basically links to every platform that I'm on, wickedgood.xyz, wickedgood.xyz, wickedgood.xyz. Literally everything's there, everything you need. It's going to send you to a link tree. It just makes it simpler to just say wickedgood.xyz instead of reading out link tree links. Clips every single day. There's a whole YouTube channel for it, so you can get clips literally every single day if you want. There's a live stream running Monday through Friday, basically forever on from now. Said that weirdly, but either way, Monday through Friday live stream. It's random clips in random orders. So if you want to hop in, check what clips go in. If you like it, keep watching. If not, check back an hour later. Go ahead. Up to you. Also, your chat, the chat is on screen. So if you want to, send some, do some stuff there, you can go ahead, obviously, to a certain extent. But also, we have Dono wallets. So if you'd like to donate, you can go to the paste bin and all the wallet addresses are there. YouTube, the Hub, Twitch, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, those are all the other platforms basically. Other than that, into the show. I guess a little early stuff. Pretty sure we're going to be back on. I know I said this last episode, so I'm basically falling on deaf ears right now, but I think we'll be back. I think we're going to be pretty good on timing and scheduling and everything. I think figure this out pretty well. So let's just hop into it. Episode 7 of Season 4. First topic is SLS is finally rolling out to the pad for launch. SLS is NASA's mega rocket that's going to be sending humans in the future to the moon. This mission is not to send humans, but is to just send the capsule for obvious testing. This article comes from space.com. NASA's Artemis 1 moon mission is a go for August 29th. By the time this comes out, it has either launched or is on its next launch window, depending on when you're watching this. So, oops, might be late news. If not, who knows? Might be blown up at this point. NASA's Artemis 1 Space Launch System mega rocket stands atop Launch Pad 39B at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, ahead of a planned August 29th, 2022 launch. So basically when this is coming out. The space agency on Monday, August 22nd, cleared its Artemis 1 mission to launch an uncrewed test flight around the moon next week, tomorrow. Liftoff is scheduled to be around 8:33 a.m. Eastern Time. The historic mission, the first of NASA's Artemis program that aims to return astronauts to the moon. While liftoff from Pad 36B at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, it will be the first flight of the Space Launch System mega rocket SLS, NASA's most powerful rocket ever, which is more than the Saturn V, which sent, if you believe they went to the moon, then that's what sent them to the moon. This is more powerful than that. On top of the SLS, they will be doing a critical test of its Orion spacecraft. Quote, "We are go for launch, which is absolutely outstanding," NASA's Associate Administrator Robert Cabana told reporters in a press conference Monday night. This day has been a long time coming. Yeah, it's been about 11 years. Artemis will launch a 322-foot SLS mega rocket and its Orion capsule on a 42-day mission to circle the moon and return to Earth. NASA is billing the test flight as its first mission back to the moon with a crew-capable spacecraft in nearly 50 years. It's also NASA's first new vehicle of its own since the agency retired its space shuttle fleet over a decade ago. According to NASA's plan, Artemis 1 will lift off from Pad 39B, the same launch pad used by Apollo 10 mission to orbit the moon in 1969, as well as Skylab and Apollo-Soyuz missions, and take about a week to reach lunar orbit. It will stay there for about a month before returning to Earth on October 10th. So it's going to be up there for a pretty good amount of time. That assumes everything will go perfectly with the flight. NASA has made it clear that there are possibilities of things going wrong. This is the first flight of this is the first flight of a new rocket and new spacecraft. Jim Free, NASA's Associated Administrator of Exploration Systems Development, told reporters, "We're doing something that is incredibly difficult to do and can be very risky." End quote. Missions managers said Monday that they will intend to push the 4-person Orion spacecraft hard, going beyond parameters the agency has set for crewed flights to ensure that the spacecraft gets put through its paces. The mission's marathon 42-day length is longer than the standard 10-day or so Artemis crewed flights NASA has planned. That will give NASA and the European Space Agency, which built the Orion's service module, time to identify any issues to address for the first crewed flight. Orion is also carrying a Moonican mannequin and humanoid torsos covered with sensors to measure the effects of vibration and space radiation on the human body, while 10 small CubeSats will be deployed from the SLS during the flight to test new Artemis exploration technologies. The crew flight is Artemis 2, which NASA hopes to fly in 2024. So this is not crewed. As they said earlier, there's going to be a mannequin in there with a bunch of stuff on it. There's going to be some other scientific stuff in there. There's going to be what's the zero-G gravity, zero-G indicator going to be? I think it's going to be Snoopy maybe. So Artemis 2 is when the crews actually start going up there, like the people. Artemis 3, the first Artemis moon landing with a crew, is targeted for 2025 and will use a SpaceX Starship lander to fly astronauts to one of 13 candidate sites at the moon's south pole. But both of those missions, of course, depend on Artemis 1's turnout. SpaceX, the capsule that's on top of SLS right now that's going to be tested is only to orbit the moon. It's not to land on the moon. What the SpaceX Starship is going to do is take them from orbit, land them on the moon, and then bring them back to orbit. And then presumably they're going to take the Orion spacecraft from the moon's orbit back to Earth. Yes, it's confusing. I'm not going to try to justify why it's confusing because I don't agree with its confusion. It shouldn't be this way. But, the government's very good at contracts and knows how to make them very correct. So this is just another issue with that. But SpaceX is going to be landing people on the moon for Artemis 3. That the whole point of Artemis 3 is to land people on the moon. And the only way that's going to happen is if SpaceX's Starship works and ends up being able to launch. Slight tangent. It does seem like the Starship and booster will be able to at least do a test launch, hopefully this year. The Texas base, I watched the Lob Padre videos every single week. It looks like it's doing pretty good. Hopefully nothing bad happens. There was a slight, I'm pretty sure you call it an explosion, a couple weeks ago, which obviously was probably an issue, but this is a test thing. And considering it took 11 years for the SLS, it took 11 years for the NASA rocket that's about to launch next week. It took them 11 years to do that. And SpaceX has built the prototype that's also supposed to be sending things to the moon. Started the prototype maybe 2 years ago and hasn't even launched the prototype yet. So you can see the differences between how government things are made and private company stuff is made, especially in the space industry, even though most of the things actually built and assembled for the SLS are built by private companies contracted by NASA. So there's some nuance to it, but NASA has 3 chances to launch Artemis 1. It is currently in a flight window which opens on August 29th. The backup days are September 2nd and 5th, with NASA expected to outline its launch strategy later this week, which has already happened. NASA's Launch Test Director Charlie Blackwell Thompson said launch crews have 2 final closeout tests to work through, one on the rocket's twin solid boosters, and another connection between the SLS rocket and its mobile launch platform. The teams have done one critical test to verify a fix to a leak spotted in June, fueling test. That's why it got rolled back. So, space, baby. Something we should all care about, especially if you don't think we landed on the moon, then this is kind of to the contrary of that, because hopefully we'll be landing on the moon in the next couple of years. Who actually knows if we end up doing it or not? Who knows? But something that definitely has already happened, and we don't have to wait 11 years for it to happen. OpenSea's emails got completely leaked. So for this hack of the week, OpenSea had literally every single email in their email lists leaked. So yes, it's not social security numbers and stuff, but if you know how the crypto space works, those emails are going to be very important and will be very useful for people who are going to try to phish other people. This is directly from OpenSea's blog. This is slightly old, but I still wanted to at least bring it up and prove that this email stuff is going to keep happening, and please make sure you're not clicking on random things in your email. It's very important not to. Important update on email vendor security incident. OpenSea blog. We recently learned that an employee of Customer.io, our email delivery vendor, misused their employee access to download and share email addresses provided by OpenSea users and subscribers to our newsletter with an unauthorized external party. If you have shared your email with OpenSea in the past, you should assume that you were impacted. So this is, if you gave your email to OpenSea, you should presume that this is your email's out there now, based on this link, even though it's most likely out there anyways. But now it's attached to your NFTs at OpenSea. We are working with Customer.io in our ongoing investigation, and we have reported this incident to law enforcement. Please stay vigilant about your email practices and be alert for any attempt to impersonate OpenSea via email. How can you protect yourself? This is why I want to talk about this, because they go over some really good steps on protecting yourself. Because the data compromised include email addresses, there may be a heightened likelihood for email phishing attempts. While safe email practices are always important, we strongly recommend that you follow the guidelines listed below and treat any further emails that appear to be from OpenSea very carefully. Please be aware that malicious actors may try to contact you while using an email address that looks visually similar to our official email domain. OpenSea.io is the official domain, such as OpenSea.org or some other variant. OpenSea.io is the only one. And example of phishing addresses: OpenSea.io, OpenSea.org, OpenSea.xyz. OpenSea.io is the only domain that you should be getting OpenSea emails from if you are getting any. Safety recommendations. This is applicable to everyone who's not only does the OpenSea stuff. Be cautious of phishing emails from addresses trying to impersonate OpenSea. OpenSea will only send you emails from the domain OpenSea.io. Please do not engage with any emails claiming to be from OpenSea that do not come from this email domain. Never download anything from an OpenSea email. Authentic OpenSea emails do not include attachments or requests to download anything. That's a very important thing. Most companies do not require you to download anything directly from the email, so be slightly sussy about that. Check the URL of any page linked in an OpenSea email. We only include hyperlinks to email.opensea.io URLs. Make sure that OpenSea.io is spelled correctly, as it's common for malicious actors to impersonate URLs by shuffling letters. Never share or confirm your password or secret wallet phrases. OpenSea will never prompt you to do this in any format, nor will any other company. If anyone's ever asking, if any email or any message you get on any platform asks you for your password or your wallet phrases, just no, you never, ever send a password over any sort of messaging, no matter if it's email, messenger, or anything. Not even if it seems like your bank just messaged you. It's just ask your bank to do it some other way. They probably would be happy to. Never sign a wallet transaction prompted directly from an email. Correct. If you're doing any sort of crypto, you should probably know this, but OpenSea emails will never contain links with which directly prompt you to sign a wallet transaction. Never sign a wallet transaction that does not list the origin of https OpenSea.io if you were led there by email. Very important. You should not accept any wallet transaction that you do not know is directly coming from something that you tried to do. Because if you do, you could likely have your entire wallet completely wiped clean. So if this is the first time you've ever done if you've never messed with a wallet, do not just randomly accept free NFTs, free coins, and then send it to one of your main wallets. Spin up another random wallet, send it to that, and then hold it there for a little bit or something, and then keep it. You just should not be taking any risks when it comes to things that aren't completely vetted interacting with your wallet, because once it's gone, it's gone. You cannot get it back. There's no one you can sue. You can't hack the other person. It's just gone. So please do not sign any wallet transactions going forward or ever that are not from someone you know or a company that is directly, like, you're already signing the whatever. You get the point. Do not, if you see a transaction from something you've never seen before, or you didn't, like, a minute ago start the transaction, just don't accept it. Just say fuck off. It's probably not worth the money anyways if it did skyrocket. Your trust and safety is a top priority. We wanted to share the information we have at this time and let you know that we've reported the incident to law enforcement and are cooperating in the investigation. Please help us keep the community safe by reporting any suspicious communications that appear at OpenSea support at support.opensea.io. So if you do get any of these emails, report it to OpenSea. It will definitely help them out. It sometimes doesn't seem like it, but on their back end, it might help them out. You might not know how it's helping them out, but it's always good to report stuff like this. If you see bad stuff anywhere, it's usually a good thing to report it. Sometimes people clearly people get taken down for spam reporting. So if you can get taken down for random spam reporting, you can take down some bad guys, especially if there's people who are knowledgeable of it and just forget to report it. Something that shouldn't be reported publicly is people who own concealed weapons or anyone who has a weapons license. That wasn't a great transition, but you'll get the point. The Fresno County Sheriff Office DOJ data breach exposes personal information of California CCW holders. This isn't good. On Tuesday, the California State Sheriff's Association informed our office that the California Department of Justice had suffered a data breach. This occurred as part of the DOJ's launch of its 2022 Firearms Dashboard Portal. I'm sure the Second Amendment people love that dashboard portal, and clearly they don't because they fucked it up. This public site allows access to certain information. However, personal information of concealed carry weapons permit holders is not supposed to be visible. Clearly, this includes, but is not limited to, a person's name, age, their full address, their criminal identification index, whatever that means, and license type, standard, judicial, reserve, or custodial. This pertains to all California CCW holders, including Fresno County residents. This article is from the Fresno County Sheriffs, so that's why I'm reading it. And there's a lot of reference to Fresno County. After learning of the breach, the DOJ pulled down the dashboard site along with all related links. However, portions of the private information may have been posted on social media websites. It is unknown exactly how much time the information was accessible. It gets into it later, but there was a way to open up a spreadsheet that had all of that information that I just said earlier: full name, full address, your whatever your, I guess, standing is with the corrections office, and if you're a criminal or not, and what standard license you have. So address, phone numbers, emails, names, all that stuff, completely publicly accessible. And they don't know how long it was publicly accessible for. This is great. This is why the government's very good at making lists. That was a joke. The State Attorney General's office has stated it is working with urgency to determine the scope of the breach. It plans to contact CCW holders directly to advise them of the breach and will institute a program to reduce any harm or damages to CCW holders that resulting of the breach. I don't think I need to explain why this is an issue of the addresses and names and numbers and other identifiable information being leaked when it's associated with a weapon. I mean, I don't know if I need to explain why that might not be a good thing for people to publicly have that information, or other nation states. So, not good. California Department of Justice has announced that personal information was disclosed in connection with the June 27th update of the Firearms Dashboard Portal. Based on the department's current investigation, the incident exposed the personal information of individuals who were granted or denied. So this isn't only people who have the license, this is people who applied and then got denied. So there's at least some percentage of people who don't even have a gun license and now have their personal information exposed that they attempted to get it. Wonderful. And carry weapons permit below from 2011 to 2021. Information exposed include name, date of birth, gender, race, driver's license number, addresses, and criminal history. Social security numbers or any financial information were not disclosed. Who gives a fuck? With your full name, your date of birth, your gender, your race, your driver's license number, and addresses, you could create a bank account. You could do a whole bunch of stuff with that. So the social security number and the financial information aren't that It's not that bad compared to what actually got leaked. Additionally, data from the following dashboards were also impacted: assault weapons registry, handguns certified for sale, dealer record of sale, firearm certificate safety, and gun violence restraining order dashboards. Wait, holy shit. This is even worse than I had expected. So you can see, all right, well, I'm not even going to speculate, but the assault weapons registry, the handguns certified for sale, the dealer records are for sale. So all the sales were leaked. That's including assault weapons and handguns. Assault weapons is a different license, which allows fully automatic, which is different than a normal gun license, if you don't know how guns work. And then the gun violence restraining order dashboard. I mean, that's probably not that bad of a thing to be leaking, but it is not good, obviously, in the full aspect of all of this. In the coming days, the department will notify individuals whose data has been exposed and provide additional information. California law requires a business to state and notify residents. Yeah. Okay. We are communicating with law enforcement. Any Californian that may take the following steps to immediately protect their information and related credit. If you don't realize this, every single year you get a free credits check, which is what they're talking about. Annualcreditreport.com if you were affected by this and want to get your free credit check. More and more data breaches are going to continue to happen, and just not making the database in general technically allows the breach to just not happen. So paper records, yes, are not as efficient, but it does prevent and safeguard things that are pretty important. It wouldn't really be that good if a nation state that isn't the U.S. knew. I personally don't really enjoy the fact that the U.S. government could know literally the address and where every single weapon is in the United States. I don't like that idea. That kind of would help with the whole controlling of the citizens. I think the U.S. government not knowing where all the guns are is probably a good thing for the citizens if there was ever a reason to not like the government, no matter what your political leanings are. Also, it probably wouldn't be good if Russia or China also found out publicly the location of every single weapon in the U.S. if they ever were to try to, come to the country and do what they would probably do if they did come to the country. So exposures like this are not good. Clearly, most data exposures are not good in general, but this is a very, very, very not good exposure of lists that have been more prominently in the attention of the public. I'm going to stop there on that topic and hop on to some music. But before that, Double Dome Municipality, back at it again with another ad. This episode's ad is brought to you by Tommy Chong CBD. The world is full of CBD brands, but only one has the name Tommy Chong CBD. They got drops, topicals, gummies, soft gels. Obviously, why wouldn't you? From 750 milligrams full spectrum gummies to 250 milligram CBD muscle freeze gel. There's definitely something on this website that will pique your interest. Drops come from 3 different formulas. Some of the drops are full spectrum, good vibes, and nice dreams. They got 300 milligram versions all the way up to 3,000 milligram versions of the drops. So no matter who you are, there's a product for you. Check them out. wickedgood.xyz advertisers tab. You go wickedgood.xyz, click on the advertisers tab. Bam, there you go. That's how the internet works. wickedgood.xyz advertisers tab. If you don't use that link, I don't make any money. Also, make sure to use Tommy20 when you check out. You get 20% off. So as long as that lasts, don't know when this episode will be coming out or airing. So there you go. Tommy20, wickedgood.xyz, advertisers tab. There you go. That's the end of this ad. back to the show. Back from that ad into some music stuff. This is slightly tech also, but I did want to talk about it because this is going to be an issue that is going to continue to happen, and I'd like to at least talk about it now to make people think about it and keep it in the back of their head while this sort of technology continues. Voice of FN Meka says he wasn't paid and creators ghosted him. FN Meka is this... Oh, we'll get into it. This is from digitalmusicnews.com. The real voice rapper of AI artist FN Meka is speaking out. He says the creators ghosted him and didn't pay him a dime. Rapper Kyle the Hooligan posted an Instagram video in which he shared his side of the story. The video was posted on August 23rd with the rapper speaking about how he was approached to lend his voice to the virtual character. I knew y'all done... Alright, I'm reading the transcript of an Instagram video, so let's just see how this goes. I know y'all done heard about this FN Meka stuff. People been DMing me. I've been trying to keep it quiet because I was gonna really wait till this shit blew up for real before I went after them, this is basically our entire society right now. I was gonna wait till shit blew up and then go after them. So there's always people hiding in the dark who want to take you down, and so this is just another story of that. This is just how society works nowadays, apparently. Basically, it's like they came to me with this AI shit and was like, would you like to be the voice of it? I thought it was going to be some collaboration. They promised me equity in the company, percentages, and all this stuff. So I'm thinking, okay, this is about to be some collab, something different for me, so where I can do my music and be some AI stuff with this FN Meka character. End quote. Quote, so everything is going good. Next thing I know, N-words, just be ghosting me. Use my voice, use my sound, use the culture, and just literally just left me high and dry. I ain't getting a dime off of nothing, and they got record deals. All this stuff, I wasn't involved with no meetings or none of that, which is fucked up. So honestly, I'm glad they ass got canceled. That's karma for the ass. In a following post on Instagram, Kyle the Hooligan provided proof of his vocals from the rapper. He plays raw files from FN Meka's 2019 song Moonwalkin' and the 2020 track Internet. News broke last week the AI rapper was got signed to a record deal with Capitol Records, but earlier this week, Capitol Records severed ties with the virtual rapper. CMG has severed ties with the FN Meka project effective immediately, the label said. We offer our deepest apologies to the Black community for our insensitivity in signing this project without asking enough questions about equity and the creative process behind it. We thank those who have reached out to us with constructive feedback in the past couple days. Our input was invaluable as we came to the decision to end our association with the project. So, please do not lend your voice to AI I would like to see in court how this would possibly play out. Does his voice or the AI get the copyright? That's quickly why I want to talk about it. It's just this is going to be an issue that's going to keep coming up. These companies are going to keep signing more virtual artists, and these virtual artists are going to have their vocals based off someone, and that someone, like in this case, is probably not going to get paid for it because that's how the music industry works on the high end. Something to think about, something to keep in the back of the head going forward when you hear stuff like that, hear about these virtual artists. There's going to be more virtual artists. I've already talked about a couple before. So it's not going away, and I like the idea. I think it's cool. Just music industry stuff. Doing music industry stuff, I guess. One cool thing, though, that is from people who usually aren't doing cool things. We have Facebook and larger company Meta introducing music revenue sharing, giving Facebook creators a new way to earn money with popular music. Basically, you're going to be able to make music by putting video. You're going to be able to make money when putting songs in your videos as long as it's licensed. This is directly from Facebook.com, so we know this is right from their mouths. With music revenue sharing, whenever a creator uses licensed music in their videos on Facebook that are 60 seconds or longer, they can earn money on certain videos through in-stream ads with a share of revenue going back to the music rights holders. It's amazing that they're finally doing this. This is something that needed to happen, and I'm pretty sure they're the first ones doing it. Music can drive culture and social interactions, and this feature enables video creators to include more of their favorite music from popular artists like Post Malone, basically like some of the biggest artists. With video making up half of the time spent on Facebook, music revenue sharing helps creators access more popular music, deepening relationships with their fans and the music industry. Made possible through our partnerships across the music industry, this feature is the first of its kind at this scale, benefiting creators, our partners, and music rights holders and fans. I have dreamed about using popular music in my videos for years. Music revenue sharing on Facebook is an absolute game changer for creators. I was lucky enough to test this feature earlier this summer, hearing iconic film scores on my movie-themed recipe videos enhances my content so much I could not be more excited. Copyright is a bitch, and it's nice to finally see things like this actually being applied in real life rather than hindering the society or the social interaction that we use constantly. So now you can actually use music in videos on Facebook and not have to worry about being copyright claimed. It's a big issue, and it's finally being fixed. The music revenue sharing, with music revenue sharing, video creators can create and share videos featuring music from an expansive catalog of licensed songs without worrying if the music has been licensed by rights holders. Video creators will receive 20% revenue share on eligible videos with a separate share going to rights holders and to Meta. All content created must satisfy Facebook's monetization practices, community standards, and music guidelines. Music and videos that violate these terms will still risk penalties such as demonetization. More details about revenue sharing can be found in this Help Center blog. To be eligible for music revenue sharing, video creators must be eligible for in-stream ads and meet our monetization eligibility standards. The Facebook video should be 60 seconds or longer and uploaded to a Facebook page. The featured song must be covered in the licensed music library, which contains all eligible songs for music revenue sharing. There must be a visual component to the video. The licensed music itself cannot be the primary purpose of the video. Before uploading any video content to Facebook, we recommend that you check the licensed music library, which contains all eligible songs that we have been approved for monetization through music revenue sharing. Once confirmed, here's how music revenue sharing works. Upload your video 60 seconds or longer to your Facebook page via Creator Studio or direct upload to your page. If the song is eligible for music revenue sharing, you'll see a notification within Creator Studio and support inbox that confirms this. Once the video is published to your page, you'll receive a notification confirming that your video is earning and sharing revenue. Creators can monitor their progress on expected earnings from in-stream ads at any time in Creator Studio. Music revenue sharing will start rolling out today everyone has it at this point. We're continuing to work with our music partners to expand the licensed music library to include more licensed songs from many of your favorite artists and evolve the experience. These efforts will help bring creators and the music industry closer together. Completely agree. Leading to more authentic creations with fans. We're also gathering feedback from video creators to ensure that we're delivering on their needs through Facebook. This is great. I have nothing to complain about this. It's very, very helpful that Facebook is finally pushing the boundaries on this, and this is great for musicians and for video creators in general. It's going to allow a lot more intermingling of revenue streams. It's going to add more revenue streams. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get your music into the Facebook library, but I'm sure I should probably look into it anyways, just to sauce some shit into it. So that's that. That's the end of that. On to something a little bit, this will be quick, but a little bit more, I guess a little heavy. Not really, though, because this is something that everyone should just know. The new I don't know how to say this without getting demonetized. The Hurt Yourself and Crisis Lifeline is now 988. So you're used to 911 for the police. Now if you dial 988 anywhere in the United States, you will be sent to the crisis line. And so if you ever have an issue, it's a lot easier to call people who can help you with it. Before, it was some crazy long number. I don't know what it was. And that's probably not a good thing that I don't know what it was, because that means other people probably didn't know what that crisis hotline was. But the crisis hotline is 988. So please remember this. If anything ever happens, you ever something's happening and you need help, 988. Highly recommend using it. I've never used it personally, so I don't know how it works, but I think this is a good thing for people to know. This is right before tech, because this is kind of technology. The U.S. government's finally using technology to make 988 work on literally every single phone, so don't matter what phone you're on, 988, basically like 911, but 988's for Health and Human Services. So please remember that. On to some more tech. Leading off that, we have Metasurfaces open the door to telekinesis and telepathy with technology. This is from the Singularity Hub. Stranger Things fans will be familiar with this scene. 11, a girl with telekinetic powers, looks at a Coke can and then basically breaks it. Yes, okay. Changing objects with the mind has long been a trope in science fiction. Now, thanks to Metasurfaces, 2 studies just showed that it's potentially possible. Metamaterials are artificial composites with bizarre optical properties. Often arranged in tandem, they can interact with electromagnetic waves, including visible light, in ways that are impossible for natural materials. This gives them a superpower. They can readily adapt their properties, for example, bending light in different ways, rather than relying on the properties of the materials they're made of. Why care? Our brain generates electromagnetic waves as they process information. Depending on your brain state, for example, if it's relaxed versus concentrating, different frequencies of brain waves take over. So why not use the brain as a source to trigger changes in metamaterials? In the first study, published in eLight, the team used a brainwave extraction module that allowed volunteers to control a metasurface, a 2D version of metamaterials with their minds alone. The whole system is wireless and relies on Bluetooth. They extracted brainwaves from the volunteer as she relaxed or concentrated and thought a and through a okay, wait, let me all right, they extracted brainwaves from the volunteer as she relaxed or concentrated and through a controller. Changed how the linked metasurfaces scattered lights. Not as dynamic as bending a Coke can, sure, but a futuristic demonstration of using the mind to control physical materials. The second study took the idea a smidge further. Different metasurfaces can talk to each other based on electromagnetic properties. Here, the team hooked up two people to metasurfaces to text their minds. One volunteer was the transmitter and the other the receiver. By concentrating, the transmitter's brain waves changed the metasurface's properties to encode different binary messages. Upon decoding, the receiver got the text all without lifting a single finger. For now, the futuristic tech is still in its infancy, but scientists imagine they'll one day be able to use metamaterials for a myriad of purposes. Monitoring the attention status of drivers, for example, or incorporating them into non-invasive brain-machine interfaces. Combined with intelligent algorithms, such as machine learning, the presented two works may further open up the new direction to advanced biointelligent metasurface systems. There's one little more part that I wanted to talk about. Main point of this is this shit's it's happening. We need to think about it. Just like put it in the back of the head. That's why it's here. It's in the tech. It's in the tech category. Just a lot of the stuff I talk about here is just sort of things to kind of just poop. That's just a little mental note to kind of keep there going into the future. Depending on, you can use this stuff. I don't know how you can apply all this information to yourself in life. Maybe it's financially, maybe it's a job that you'd like to do, or something you're just interested in and want to learn more about. Something you definitely want to learn more about, and is probably going to be interesting, and is definitely going to be in the future, is augmented eye lenses, so lenses that go directly on your eye. This is directly from Mojo Vision. It's called Today I Wore Mojo Lens. When I ask people when they think they'll see smart contact lenses being worn, I hear answers ranging from 10 years from now to 20 years, all the way to it will never happen. Turns out the future is a lot closer than most people think. In fact, the future is already here. I've seen it. I've worn it. It works. It all happened at Mojo's Visions Labs in Saratoga, California in June 2022. And it was the first ever on-eye demonstration of a feature-complete augmented reality smart contact lens. So let me repeat that. The first ever on-eye demonstration of a feature-complete augmented reality smart contact lens. It's literally a smart contact lens, and it's happening. You thought that this might be the future a couple years from now? No, it literally just happened. We recently announced our advanced prototype of Mojo Lens, highlighting a series of new hardware features and breakthrough technologies embedded directly into the lenses, including a new and advanced display, eye tracking, communications, and software. These integrate with an eye-based UI to create an AR system that can provide discrete access to information you need throughout your day, all while letting you look like yourself. debatable, that end part. But the final technical hurdle to wearing the lens was ensuring that the power and radio communication system worked without wires. Cutting the cord proved that the lens and all major components are fully functional and also reduced many of the technical challenges in building a smart contact lens. After completing preclinical testing and mitigating potential safety risks, the CEO, wore Mojo lens. Much to my delight, I found I could interact with a compass to find my bearings, new images, and use an on-screen teleprompter to read a surprising but familiar quote. I experienced firsthand the future with invisible computing. I do believe this is the future. It's going to be a lot better than having glasses that do it if it's just on your eyeball. Obviously, it's going to be a lot harder and battery life and all that shit, but it's got to start somewhere, and it is starting. How we got here, we started, but whatever. How Mojo Lens works. In building Mojo Lens, Mojo has developed many industry-first technologies. At the heart of Mojo Lenses is our... Holy shit, that's pretty good. At the heart of our Mojo Lens is our 14,000 pixel per inch micro LED display, measuring less than 0.5 millimeters in diameter with a pixel pitch of 1.8 microns. I don't know what that part meant, but it is the world's smallest and densest display ever created for dynamic content. Mojo Vision has developed custom application-specific integrated circuits designed for Mojo Lens that's incorporated a 5 GHz radio and ARM Core M0 processor that transmit sensor data off the lens and stream augmented reality content to the micro LED display. So this thing is fucking packed with technology, clearly. Mojo Lens has a custom configured accelerometer, gyroscope, and magnetometer that continuously track eye movements so that AR imagery is held still as the eye moves. Mojo Lens uses a proprietary power management system that includes medical-grade micro batteries and a Mojo-developed power management integrated circuit. Mojo Lens is controlled with a unique and intuitive interface based on eye tracking that allows users to access content and select items without hand or gesture-based controls, just the natural movement of the eyes. So it's intuitive. Wearing the lens was inspiring. Seeing the future literally put me at a loss for words. As I wore the lens and thought about the different components and subsystems contained within, I was reminded that every one of our development teams achieved great success within their disciplines, but have optics, electronics, mechanical systems, and software all operating at the same time, and seeing it happen was a historic achievement. For the entire team, this represents a major step towards the potential for Mojo Lens to improve the lives of millions of people. Wrapping it up a little bit. What's next? While I'm the first person to wear our feature-complete prototype of Mojo Lens, there will soon be many more who experience invisible computing. With this advancement, we now have a testing platform that helps us refine and build Mojo lenses that will ultimately lead to submission to FDA for market approval. To accomplish this, we will conduct several clinical studies to test capability and provide feedback on software and apps. We hope to see Mojo Lens change the lives of individuals with vision impairment by improving their ability to perform daily tasks that many of us take for granted. I envision amateur and professional athletes wearing Mojo Lens as they can train smarter, stay focused, and reach peak performance. Ultimately, this is a tool that can give people an invisible assistant through their day to stay focused without losing access to the information they need to feel confident in any situation. Through our partnerships and collaboration with app developers, suppliers, and manufacturing partners, we are getting closer getting this milestone to be an incredible learning experience, and we'll have to apply these learning going forward as we continue and development of Mojo Lens. This is fucking sick. I didn't think that this was this like near in the future. Apparently it is. Yeah. So we're gonna, I guess, have lenses on our eyes pretty soon. It's not gonna be that far out. I think I'd prefer the contact lens over the brain implant. So that might be the first one out of the list. Who knows though? Something well, I'm slightly tired. I don't know when the last time I did an ad was. Actually, it wasn't that long ago. All right, well, we'll continue. If I do throw an ad in, then I just threw an ad in. If not, then you just listen to me talk through all that. We have OpenAI. They have an article or a blog post talking about how they taught a AI to play Minecraft with video pre-training VPT. I'm going to drink some water and then we'll be all good. Water. Don't forget, drink your water. All right. Learning to play Minecraft with video pre-training. The internet contains an enormous amount of publicly available videos that we can learn from. We can watch a person make a gorgeous presentation, a digital artist draw a beautiful sunset, and a Minecraft player build an intricate house. However, these videos only provide a record of what happened, but not precisely how it was achieved. You will not know the exact sequence of mouse movements and keys pressed. If we would like to build large-scale foundation models in these domains, as we've done in language with GPT, this lack of action labels poses a new challenge not present in the language domain, where action labels are simply the next words in a sentence. I'm just going to read all of this. Whatever anecdotes I might add are probably not correct or they're not accurate. So I'm just going to read this article because they do go. It is slightly in one ear, out the other, but I highly recommend even listening to this twice because this is, if you're worried about artificial intelligence, this is where she's going, or machine learning. In order to utilize the wealth of unlabeled video database available on the internet, we introduce a novel yet simple semi-supervised imitation learning method, video pre-training VPT. We start by gathering a small data set from contractors where we record not only their video but also the actions they took, which in our case are key presses and mouse movements. With this data, we train an inverse dynamics model, an IDM, which predicts the action being taken at each step in the video. Importantly, the IDM can use past and future information to guess the action at each step. This task is much easier and thus requires far less data than the behavioral cloning task of predicting actions given past video frames only, which requires inferring what the person wants to do and how to accomplish it. We can use the trained IDM to label a much larger data set of only videos and learn to act via behavioral cloning. VPT zero-shot results. We choose to validate our method in Minecraft because it's one of the most actively played video games in the world and thus has a wealth of freely accessible video on the internet. 2 is open-ended with a wide variety of things to do, similar to the real-world applications such as computer usage, unlike prior works like Minecraft that use simplified action spaces aimed at easing exploration. Our AI uses the much more generally applicable, though also much more difficult, native human interface, 20 hertz frame rate with the mouse and keyboard. So this AI is only using a mouse and keyboard to interface with the game. That's why this is so hard. And why this matters. It matters is because the machine is learning how to use a keyboard and mouse on top of learning how to play Minecraft. Trained on 70,000 hours of IDM labeled online video, our behavioral cloning model accomplishes tasks in Minecraft that are nearly impossible to achieve with reinforcement learning from scratch. It learns to chop down trees to collect logs, craft those logs into planks, and then craft those planks into a crafting table. This sequence takes a human proficient in Minecraft approximately 50 seconds or 1,000 consecutive game actions. Sequence of items required to craft a crafting table, labeled with the median time it takes proficient humans to reach the steps. Crafting a crafting table. Additionally, the model performs other complex skills humans often do in-game, such as swimming, hunting animals for food, and eating food. It also learned the skill of pillar jumping, a common behavior in Minecraft of elevating yourself by repeatedly jumping and placing a block underneath yourself. Which is crazy that it was able to do that, because sometimes I'm not even able to do that. Fine-tuning with behavioral cloning. Foundation models are designed to have a broad behavior profile and be generally capable across a wide variety of tasks. To incorporate new knowledge or allow them to specialize on a narrower task distribution, it is common practice to fine-tune these models to similar, more specific datasets. As a case study into how well the VPT Foundation model can be fine-tuned to downstream datasets, we asked our contractors to play for 10 minutes in brand new Minecraft worlds and build a house from basic Minecraft materials. We hoped that this would amplify the Foundation's model ability to reliably perform early game skills such as building crafting tables. When fine-tuning to this dataset, we not only do we see a massive improvement in reliability performing the early game skills already present in the Foundation model, but the fine-tuned model also learns to go even deeper into the technology tree by crafting both wooden and stone tools. Sometimes we even see some rudimentary shelter construction and the agent searching through villages, including raiding chests. It's so crazy that this is just a computer doing this. It's just mind-blowing. Sequence of items required to craft a stone pickaxe labeled with the median. Okay, so it just goes over. Data scaling. Perhaps the most important hypothesis of our work is that it is far more effective to use labeled contractor data to train an IDM as part of the VPT pipeline than it is to directly train the BC Foundation model from the same small contractor dataset. Don't necessarily know what that means personally, but I'm going to keep reading. To validate this hypothesis, we train foundation models on increasing amounts of data from 1 to 70,000 hours. Those trained on under 2,000 hours of data are trained on the contractor data with ground truth labels that were originally collected to train the IDM. And those trained on over 2,000 hours are trained on internet data labeled with our IDM. We then take that information foundation model and fine-tune it to the house building dataset described in the previous section. Reinforced learning. Conclusion. VPT paves the way toward... Oh, wait. Where's the one where they talk? Oh, here we go. Fine-tuning with reinforcement learning. When it's possible to specify a reward function, reinforcement learning can be a powerful method of eliciting high, potentially even superhuman performance. However, many tasks require overcoming hard exploration challenges, and most RL methods tackle these with random exploration priors. Models are often incentivized to act randomly via entropy bonuses. The VP model should be a much better prior for RL because emulating human behavior is likely much more helpful than taking random actions. We set our model, the challenging task of collecting a diamond pickaxe and unprecedented capability in Minecraft made all the more difficult when using native human interface. So a lot of the time I know people who can't make it's very hard. Oh wow. It takes them a while to actually get diamonds and make a diamond pickaxe, or someone else ends up doing it for them. So making a computer that can do it on its own very fast is great. Crafting a diamond pickaxe requires a long and complicated sequence of subtasks. To make this task trackable, we rewarded agents each item in the sequence. We found that in IRL policy trained from a random initialization barely achieved any reward, never learning to collect logs or rarely collecting sticks. In stark contrast, fine-tuning from a VPT model not only learns to craft diamond pickaxes, but it even has a human-level success rate at collecting all items leading up to the diamond pickaxe. This is the first time anyone has shown a computer agent capable of crafting diamond tools in Minecraft, which takes humans over 20 minutes. This is fucking crazy that a computer is doing this. It's like we thought like maybe video games were going to be the last thing we had that machine learning wasn't going to be able to take over. Nope. VPT paves the path forward. VPT paves the path toward allowing agents to learn to act by watching the vast number of videos on the internet, compared to regenerative video modeling or contractive methods that would only yield representational priors. VPT offers the exciting possibility of directly learning large-scale behavioral priors in more domains than just language, while we only experiment in Minecraft. The game is very open-ended, and the native human interface, mouse and keyboard, is very generic, so we believe our results bode well for other similar domains and computer usages. Which is very true. A mouse and keyboard is basically how most people interface with computers nowadays, so if an AI can learn how to use that, then there you go. For more information, please. Okay, yeah. So, it's the end of... Actually, we're about to go into the Morty's Mind Blowers, but end of the technology section. This is another thing to just kind of, keep on in your head. Really cool. We have doctors transplant ear of human cells made by a 3D printer. So this is a 3D printed ear put onto a human. A 20-year-old woman who was born with a small and misshapen right ear has received a 3D printed ear implant made from her own cells, the manufacturer announced on Thursday. Independent experts said that the transplant, part of the first clinical trial of the successful medical application of this technology, was a stunning advance in the field of tissue engineering. This is crazy. It's finally happening. The new ear was printed in a shape that precisely matched the woman's left ear, according to 3D Biotherapeutics, a regenerative medicine company based in Queens, New York. The new ear, transplanted in March, will continue to regenerate cartilage tissue, giving it the look and feel of a natural ear, the company says. It's definitely a big deal. Guy who's not affiliated with 3D Bio, co-founder. The results of the woman's reconstructive surgery were announced by 3D Bio in a news release, citing proprietary concerns that the company has not publicly disclosed the technical details of the process, making it more difficult for outside experts to evaluate. The company said that federal regulators had reviewed the trial design and set strict manufacturing standards, and that the data would be published in a medical journal when the study was completed. So hopefully we will get some more details on it. It does understand why they don't want to completely describe exactly how they're doing it, because other people are going to take the proprietary data and build it up. China. The clinical trial, which includes 11 patients, is ongoing, and it's possible that the transplants could fail and bring unanticipated health complications. But since the cells originate from the patient's own tissue, the new ear is not likely to be rejected by the body, doctors and company officials said. Usually when you get a transplant, it's not your own body cells, so your body just constantly rejects it. Hopefully, if it's your same cells, like they do with stem cells, there should be less of a risk of rejection, hopefully. 3D Bio's success, 7 years in the making, is one of several recent breakthroughs in the quest to improve organ and tissue transplants. In January, surgeons in Maryland transplanted a genetically modified heart, talked about this, into a 57-year-old man with heart disease, extending his life by 2 months. Scientists are also developing techniques to extend the life of donor organs so they can not go to waste, which I also talked about, where they brought some dead cells back to life. Double Dome Municipality, back at it again with an ad. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Say it with me, Blue Chew. Blue Chew will bring more confidence to you in the bedroom by offering chewable tablets that can help men get stronger, longer-lasting erections. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it's chewable and it's a fraction of the cost. Blue Chew's tablets help men achieve harder, longer-lasting erections to combat all forms of erectile dysfunction. Blue Chew is an online prescription service with no visits to the doctor, no awkward conversations, and no waiting lines at the pharmacy. Also, on top of all of that wonderfulness, it ships right to your door in a discreet package. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for you. Don't like swallowing pills? Same here. Had to deal with it before. No problems with this product. Blue Chew's Sildenafil and Tadalafil tablets are chewable. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the US of A, and they're prepared and shipped directly to you, so it's cheaper than the pharmacy. If you could benefit from some extra confidence when comes time to perform, visit bluechew.com for more details, and obviously important safety information is there, because obviously there's important safety information in regards to getting your dick hard. But I've got a special deal for you right now. Try Blue Chew for free when you use promo code WickedGood at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code WickedGood to receive your first month for free. Obviously, thank you, Blue Chew, for sponsoring this podcast. Highly recommend. Obviously, you don't need it all the time, but those times where, you need the extraness, obviously, there you go. Back to the episode. Your man is gone. This is so exciting. Sometimes I have to temper myself a little bit. A pediatric ear reconstructive surgeon in San Antonio who performed the woman's implant surgery. The trial was funded by 3D Biotherapeutics, but does not have any financial stake in the company. Who heads the spine bioengineering laboratory at Monsignais School of Medicine, said that other printed tissue implants were in the pipeline, but he was unaware of any other products being tested in a clinical trial. The 3D ear implant is then a proof of concept to evaluate biocompatibility and shape matching and shape retention in living people. Still, the external part of the ear is a relatively simple appendage that is more cosmetic than functional. He continued that the path toward solid organs like liver, kidneys, hearts, and lungs is still a long one. Mostly going to be done in space, but we can talk about that later. Just going from an ear to a spinal disc is a pretty big jump, but it's more realistic if you've got an ear. 3D printed manufacturing process creates a solid, three-dimensional object from a digital model. The technology generally involves a computer-controlled printer depositing material in a thin layer to create the precise shape of the object. The new ear implant from 3D Biotherapeutics integrates several proprietary technologies, executives said, beginning with a method of turning a small sample of patient cells into billions of cells. The company's 3D printer uses a collagen-based bio-ink that is safe in the body and keeps all materials sterile. This 3D printed organs is coming. 3D printed body parts is coming. I can't wait. This shit's fucking sick. Like, well, I mean, who doesn't want that? It's going to help with the donor issue. It's probably going to keep a lot more people who shouldn't be alive longer, but I guess if we want more donor organs, this is what we're going to have to do. Who knows? Now on to Wicked Not Good. This is we're very close to the end. This is very, very Wicked Not Good. A dad took photos of his non-clothed toddler for the doctor. Google flagged him as a criminal. This is from the New York Times, and this is an article. And if you've listened to other episodes, I've talked about this once before, where some guy was wrongfully accused of a crime based off Google location data because he rode his bike past a crime seconds after it happened and lived in the neighborhood and drove a car that was similar to the one that was seen. Yet the rest of the bike location literally proved that it was not or couldn't have been him. So this is some more Google technology messing with people and turning them into criminals when they're not actually criminals. Also, this is kind of like how I talked about before, and a lot of people were going up in arms about Apple scanning people's photos for this child stuff. Google's already doing it. So, mind you, this is only stuff that's uploaded to the cloud. So if you don't use Google Photos, then none of this stuff applies to you. They're not scanning, quote unquote, not scanning your photos, but you'll see why this is an issue. Google has an automated tool to detect abusive images of children, but the system can get it wrong, and the consequences are serious. Yes, they are. Mark noticed something amidst with his toddler. His toddler's Wing Wong looked swollen and was hurting him. Mark, a stay-at-home dad in San Francisco, grabbed his Android smartphone and took photos to document the problem so he could track its progress. See where the line starts beginning to get foggy? It was a Friday night, February 2021. His wife called an advice nurse at their healthcare provider to schedule an emergency consultation for the next morning by video because it was Saturday and there was a pandemic going on at the time, obviously. The nurse said to send photos so the doctor could review them in advance. So just got to send some pictures of my child's Wing Wong to the doctor. No problem. Shouldn't be very hard. Shouldn't be anything wrong with that. No criminality there. My kid's Wing Wong hurts and we need some help. We'll see what happens. Mark's wife grabbed her husband's phone and texted the full high-quality close-ups of her son's groin area to her iPhone so she could upload them to the healthcare provider's messaging system. In one, Mark's hand was visible, helping to better display the swelling. I don't know why that necessarily matters, but Mark and his wife gave no thought to the high-tech giants that made this quick capture and exchange of digital data possible. Or those giants, what might those giants think about the picture that I just sent? Who knows? With help from the photos, the doctor diagnosed the issue and prescribed antibiotics, which quickly cleared up the issue. But the episode left Mark with a much longer and much bigger problem. One that would cost him more than a decade of contacts, emails, and photos, and make him the target of a police investigation. Mark, who asked to be identified only by his first name for fear of potential reputation harm, thank you Google for that, had been caught in an algorithmic net designed to snare people exchanging child bing bong accused material. Because technology companies routinely capture so much data, they have been pressured to act as sentinels, examining what passes through their servers to detect and prevent criminal behavior. Child advocates say that companies' cooperation is essential to combat the rampant online spread of child bing bong imagery. It can entail peering into private archives, such as digital photo albums, and instruct users may not expect. That has cast innocent behavior in a sinister light in at least 2 cases the Times have unearthed. A technology, given the toxic nature of the accusations, the most people wrongfully flagged are not going to publicly say that this happens. Yes, if I'm flagged by Google for this child stuff, I'm not going to go around and tell people that this happened. I don't want to be accused of it, even though I had been accused. So people who are affected by this, you're not hearing about it probably as much. It's probably because no one wants to publicly come out and say that they were that. A severe violation. After setting up a Gmail account in Mark, who is in his 40s, came to rely heavily on Google. This is where the walled garden of both Google and Apple start to come into play, and why it is very useful to back up your data and not just use one platform. He synced appointments with his wife on Google Calendar. His Android smartphone camera backed up his photos and videos to the Google Cloud. Please don't ever do that. This is how the fappening hack happened many years ago. A lot of the celebrities just upload their photos to iCloud, which can very accessibly be hacked very easily. He even had a phone plan on Google Fi. So not only was he using Google Drive, Google for their saving all of his contacts, saving all of his daily calendar stuff. He was also using Google Fi, which is a cell phone provider. So his cell phone provider was also through his Google account. Literally, basically every part of his technology was running through Google. So it's also kind of his fault for this happening, because this can happen. But Google shouldn't do this. 2 days after taking the photos of his son, Mark's phone made a notification sound. His account had been disabled because of harmful content. He was in a severe violation of Google's policies that might be illegal. And a learn more link led to a list of possible reasons, including child bing bong and bing bong bing bong. Mark was confused at first, but then remembered, oh yeah, Google probably thinks that was not good content, that pictures of my son's infection. In an unusual twist, Mark had worked as a software engineer on a large tech company's automated tool for taking down video content flagged by users as problematic. Slightly off about why this guy's reporting it, but it makes sense on why a guy like this would report it, because he feels confident in his ability to fight it. But if someone who isn't confident in the ability to fight Google's accusations and doesn't know how to, then they probably wouldn't go to journalists and tell them that this is happening to them. But it is slightly sus that this is the guy. He's a software engineer and has worked literally in the automation of taking down problematic videos, so slightly sussy there, but he knew such systems often had a human in the loop to ensure that the computers did not make a mistake, and he assumed that this case will be cleared up as soon as possible. Not with Google, baby. Google does not do shit. He filled out a form requesting a review of Google's decision explaining his son's infection. At the same time, he discovered that the domino effects of Google's rejection. Not only did he lose emails, he lost contact information for friends and former colleagues and documentation of his son's first years of life. His Google Fi account was also shut down, meaning he had to get a new phone number with another carrier. Without access to his old phone number and email address, he couldn't get the security codes he needed to sign into other internet accounts. So he literally got completely fucked. He can't sign into anything. He can't get into his old Google accounts because those are all done. He can't use his cell phone or his old phone number to get those double authentication codes because that phone number is now shut down. This is a great quote from him. "The more eggs you have in one basket, the more likely the basket is going to break." Couldn't be any more fucking true. In a statement, Google said, blah, 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 okay. A few days after Mark filed the appeal, Google responded that it would not reinstate the account with no further explanation. That sounds like a Google response if I've ever heard one before. Mark didn't know it, but Google's review team had also flagged the video and made the San Francisco Police Department already investigated had already investigated him. So into more of the investigation. In December 2022, Mark received a manila envelope in the mail from San Francisco Police Department. It contained a letter informing him that he had been investigated, as well as a copy of search warrants served to Google and his internet service provider. An investigator whose contact information was provided had asked for everything: Mark's Google account, his internet search location, his messages, and any document, photo, video he had stored on the company. Yeah, okay, buddy. Like, I'm going to give that to the police. The search related to child bing bong videos had taken place in February, within a week of him taking the photos of his son. So literally within a week of him taking those photos and uploading them to Google, there was already a police investigation going on, which I guess is good for when it's actually an issue, but when it's a false flag like this, like, goddamn. Mark called the investigator who was on his case, but the phone number and email address that the investigator was trying to get in contact with him earlier obviously was not working because of the incident. I determined that the incident did not meet the elements of a crime and had no crime occurred. and that no crime had occurred. The police had access to all the information Google had on Mark and decided it did not constitute child abuse or exploitation. Mark asked him if Hillard could tell Google that he was innocent so he could get his account back. You have to talk to Google for that, the investigator said. There is nothing I can do. I'm sure that's going to go well. Mark appealed his case to Google again, providing the police report to no avail. After getting a notice 2 months ago that his account will be permanently deleted, Mark spoke to a lawyer about suing Google, and that's not going to happen. I decided it was probably not worth the $7,000. No, I agree. All right, where's the last part that we want to talk about? Guilty by default. This is, Law professor said that the cooperation of technology companies provide to law enforcement to address and root out child stuff is incredibly important, but she thought it should allow for corrections. From Google's perspective, it's easier to just deny these people to use their services. Otherwise, the company would have to resolve more difficult questions about what's appropriate behavior with children and then what's appropriate to photograph or not. Mark still has hope that he can get his information back. The San Francisco police have the contents of his Google account preserved on a thumb drive. Mark is now trying to get a copy. A police spokesman said the department is eager to help him. Nico Grant contributed. I don't have to rant very much because I've already talked about this stuff enough, but it's happening. There's people being falsely accused of crimes because Google and Apple and other big tech giants are cooperating with the police and willingly giving up all of your location, your chat message data, your call data, everything. They will just willingly. Whoop. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, please. And speaking of putting all your eggs in one basket, this came out a little bit ago. This is going to be very quick, but the FBI has finally came out with its first mobile application. FBI Child ID app. This is crazy. Please don't download this just to even test what it is. I could only imagine what you're downloading, but here we go. This is directly from FBI.gov. You're shopping at the mall with your children when one of them suddenly disappears. A quick search of nearby area is unsuccessful. What do you do? Now there's a free new tool from the FBI that can help. Our Child ID app, the first mobile application created by the FBI. Their first mobile app is a Child ID app. Yeah, that's not sus at all. Provides a convenient place to electronically store photos and other vital information about your child so it's literally right at your hand if you need it. You can show the pictures and provide physical identifications such as height and weight to security and police officers on the spot. Using a special tab on the app, you can also quickly and easily email the information to authorities with a few clicks. I can just make a note in my notebook with my child's shit and then just save an album in my phone. This might have been nice when phones first came out, but here we go. Let's continue. The app includes tips on keeping children safe, as well as specific guidance on what to do in those first few critical hours after a child goes missing. It features a password protection option to help keep your information safe and allows you to add pictures from your mobile device's image library. You can also zoom in and crop images prior to saving. Some newfangled technology the FBI came up with. Important information note. The FBI is not collecting or storing any photos or information that you enter in the app. All data resides solely on the mobile device unless you need to send it to authorities. Here comes the big quotes. Please read your mobile provider's terms of service for information about security of applications stored on your device. I will say that again. The FBI is not collecting any of the data that is being stored on your phone, but please read your mobile provider's terms of service for information about the security of applications stored on your phone. So the FBI isn't directly collecting it, but I'm sure there's something in the terms of service that would allow them to collect that data. Best part of this is if you go to the actual link, the website, the image is using an iPhone that doesn't even have a fingerprint sensor on the home button. So it was before they did the full screen. It was before they had the fingerprint scanner. They're using an iPhone that doesn't even have a fingerprint sensor on it. That's how fucking dumb this shit is. But whatever. FBI Child ID app. Go ahead and download it if you want. If not, please don't. wickedgood.xyz everything. Links for all the stuff are down below in a paste bin. Obviously, if you've gotten this far, thank you for listening or watching. Skip around, obviously. There's other stuff. Live streams going constantly Monday through Friday. So you can always go over there, check out what's playing. If not, wait an hour. Might be a different clip that you like. An hour later, 2 hours later, whatever. Constantly check in. Hop in the chat. Send me a follow on Twitch, YouTube, The Hub, Twitter, Twitch, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, playlists on YouTube of every topic, Morty's Mind Blowers, all that great stuff. New clip every single day. Everything wickedgood.xyz, wickedgood.xyz, wickedgood.xyz. Hear you in the next episode. See you in the next episode. Peace.